Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. My name's Jerry DeLemus. I'm the commander of the base camp here at the Bundy Ranch and head of the outside security forces to protect the Bundys from our overreaching of the federal government. Have already actually aimed rifles at the children and the men and the women at that house. The BLM has backed off, as you well know, by this date. But there are a few things I wanted to address. One is this is probably the greatest gathering of American patriots we've had in a long time. This is the first time that the American people, private citizens, a lot of former military, a lot of civilians gathered together just to tell the government that no, you cannot push this far, this hard on the American people anymore. We will not stand for it. You need to fall back within the limitations that the Constitution put on you to restrain you. And if you continue to push like that, as you will meet resistance, because we will not allow it to continue. And so that puts you on notice as a government at that particular point in time. What I like to call is a line in the granite. Being from New Hampshire, is we don't like our lines in the sand because people move them. We like to put them right in the granite because you're not going to scuff that one out with your foot and move it. There are a few things that have gone on here, most of them great and outstanding. We've had some outstanding people. We've had outstanding militia members, outstanding just citizens, ranchers, housewives, moms, grandmas, grandpas, kids, and some outstanding oath keepers here as well. I just want to also go over a couple issues that did happen to pop up, and I want to address them. There was an issue where there was a threat of a drone attack on this camp a week ago, actually tomorrow. So there was a concern, especially by Stuart Rhodes, that the U.S. government was going to attack this camp and also the Bundy's home with the drones. I personally didn't accept that as being a viable threat, but when you hear those types of things, regardless of who it comes from, you've got to give it a little bit of credibility. So we do want to react some, and so we were pushing our guards out to the outskirts of the property and of our camp and moving them out. But I just couldn't imagine why the government would do something that blatant when they could just wait us out. And if they did, then it would have been a real marking point for the American people. It would have been the Boston Massacre that would have probably turned the American people against the government. That being said, as Stuart had already made comment to me and assured me that I had full control of all the people here. Not that I needed his permission, but that he wouldn't interfere between the Oath Keepers and my command, because about half of our forces were Oath Keepers. Matter of fact, I gave $40 to Oath Keeper the week before I got here, so I suppose that makes me one as well. But when Stuart got word that this threat was out there, and he tried to check it out, he got a lot afraid, I suppose, and was worried about his men as well. And what he did is he sent a couple boys down here to make a rally call, a retreat call, if you would, to one of the casinos, parking lots behind the hotel over in Mesquite. And without telling me, that's what he was doing. And we was going to put out some roving patrols, which I agreed with, but he wasn't going to try to pull all the Oath Keepers out of here, as he said, to get them off the X, because he was fear that, and I think it was a little Chicken Little-ish, that we were going to get hit by drones. So he did that, and what happened is it broke up all the security procedures we had in place. It put the Oath Keepers, those men and women who had volunteered to come here and help, in a terrible position, torn between commands, and when there should have been no tear in the commands, which Stuart had assured me there wouldn't be before this. But what happened is it left the Bundy Ranch open and exposed, and also left the people who remained here open and exposed. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and all I would say is to Stuart is we all make mistakes. Every one of us makes mistakes, but we don't want to compound it by throwing rocks at one another. And I know that there's been some pretty bad stuff said about me and about people in this camp and other leaders. I mean, all types of insinuations. I would just really ask you not to do that, and just to think back, because we need to be a team. The enemy is not us. The enemy is out there who are trying to take our freedoms away. So we can't align ourselves with them and let them pull psyops games on us and manipulate us into eating each other or eating our own. So I would just ask that you refrain from any of that, and that you get back to the cause that actually united us in the very beginning, because I didn't know you before this started. And let's get back to that space and see what we can do to help the Oath Keepers out, as far as to reform the opinions that are about Oath Keepers, and also not to be hurting each other's reputations at all, because it's really unnecessary. And as Christians, as we should be doing it anyways, and Americans, we have a common enemy out there that is trying to take our freedoms away, and we should be focusing on that and not on each other, some petty differences one way or the other. I would just ask that you think about that before you put out any statements, or you encourage anyone to put out statements, especially when the statements aren't accurate. And with that, as I say, Semper Fidelis, which is always faithful. It's the Marine Corps motto, and those people who stayed here certainly hold that motto to be true in their actions as well. And there's no harm, no foul, but let's just stop any of the aggravation before it gets any further out of control, because the left will certainly use that to chew on us. And again, I thank you guys for all that you have done, and I thank all the Oath Keepers that were here for doing the job that they did, because they put themselves on the line before as well, and I really appreciate all their assistance, and hopefully we'll all get together on the other side of this.
Thanks, Jerry.
How was that?